Peace and welcome back to the channel. This is a North Coast Media recap session. I'm going to take you through UFC 327 Miami. We're going to go through the fights briefly. I'll tell you what happened versus what we thought was going to happen. We'll go over the Warlord accuracy review, the war report, and then I'll take you through a little bit. This will be a different part of the video. I'll take you through a little bit of the DFS on DK series. That'll be at the back of the video, so if that is not your thing, you can just skip that. Right away, though, I'm not going to make you wait for it. Let's get into it. The straight plays. First up, we had Chris Padilla, minus 174. We put a half a unit on him on FD. Now, if you watch the fights, you know Chris Padilla outlanded his opponent. He fought Manuel Medeiros. Sorry about that, y'all. He outlanded his opponent, landed almost 50, 60 more significant strikes. He looked great. And I thought he won 2 rounds to 1. And the one round that he didn't win was kind of close. But easily he won the fight. Now, on top of that, Medeiros poked him in the eye and got docked a point. So an hour or so after the fight, they come back and tell us, and I had already gotten money paid by FD at this point. They come back and tell us that it was a majority draw, and not a win for Chris Taco Padilla. 2 of the judges had it 28-28. I don't know how that could be the score. So basically, if Medeiros doesn't get a point taken away from him, they had Medeiros as the winner. I just do not agree with that whatsoever. Now, we're talking damage is the score, the highest scoring equivalent, control. We have all those things going on, all these different dynamics. Taco did get cut on the forehead, and it was bleeding terribly the whole entire fight. But that was one shot that did that. That was not a damage accumulation. He was landing better shots, and he did a lot of his work to the body. So you're not going to really see that show up as far as like damage display. But you could tell it affected Medeiros' movement. It was a great fight. I thought it was one of the fights of the night. Definitely. I'm surprised neither one of those guys got a bonus. I do know that Chris Padilla has filed some type of, I don't know what it's called, a petition, a disagreement. He's filed something with the Florida Commission, the Gaming Commission, because he does not agree with this decision, and neither do I. And neither did the announcers, for that matter. Anyway, let's move on. The next fight up on the card, by the way, that was not the first fight. That was, that was 3 fights in. That was the first one that we had a bet on. So, the first fight on the card, actually, was Charles Radke versus Prado. We had Radke in this matchup. We had him pretty confidently. Thought that his wrestling would be able to take the day. We had him by decision as well, and he did win by decision. Exactly what we thought it was. Prado was able to hurt him a little bit on the feet more than I thought. Chuck Buffalo would do better, but he got to where he wanted to be. He got Prado to the cage, then he got to the legs, then he got Prado on the ground, and that was that. He stayed on top of him. 2 of the 3 rounds, Prado reversed the position and ended up on top at the end of the round, but for mere seconds, just seconds. I know at the end of the fight, he landed a couple good elbows in on Chuck Buffalo, but by that point, it was too little too late. He didn't get enough scoring with those little flips. I mean, Chuck controlled the fight, and in that 3rd round, he pretty much touched him up on the feet as well, which makes me wonder why he did so poorly in the 1st round from the beginning. Let me just see here. Yeah, unanimous decision, 30-26 on all the cards. So I don't want to say that was an easy one. None of these are easy, but we were pretty confident in that one. And we did have that as one leg in the 100 down premium play, which had 2 legs this week. It was plus 140. We'll get to the other one when we come to it. We did not have any solo bets on the Radke Prado fight. All right, next. Now we're under structure. Sorry, my fault. Kevin Gastelum versus Vicente Luque. We did not have any solo bets on this. We did have Kevin Gastelum as part of one of our parlays. He was part of the Castle parlay. That was all minus 107 on Bet365. We had 1 unit down on that. Okay, so, the talk was, how was Kevin going to come into this fight? And we know Kevin can come in heavy, out of shape. He relies on that power, but he hasn't got a knockout for years. So, what was going to happen? Well, he comes in, and he makes weight. He looks better. Everybody's like, okay. That's what everybody wanted to see. So you see the money coming in on Gastelum. His favor widens a little bit after weightings, and you could see it. That's what everybody was waiting on. Oh, he just looked tired and slow. When Vicente Luque finally got that gilly on him in that second round, I think he get a front headlock on him, which allowed him to take Gastelum down and start controlling the fight and getting to where he wanted it. He just stayed on him after that. Gastelum didn't fight it. He looked like a tired old man out there trying to fight them hands, trying to find the hands. He just couldn't do anything after Vicente Luque got him in that position. And honestly, terrible play. I don't want to say it's a terrible read. I mean, he was a heavy favorite, but he was my concern in the beginning. I was concerned with picking him. We ran it through the Warlord system. We got moderate confidence. I was like, okay, we'll do this. I should have known better. Kevin Gastelum is one to stay away from. The next fight up on the card was Chris Padilla and Markel Medeiros. We talked a little bit about that one. The Warlord system had predicted Padilla. Oh, and obviously it predicted Kevin Gastelum. So we went over that. Next up, this was our anchor this week. This was one we spent a ton of time with. We went over both fights. I mean, we go through all the fighters, but man, some of these fights in this match we watched 2-3 times. Also, we likened it to Tabitha Ritchie and Jillian Robertson. We got the wrestler versus the striker dynamic. We got a busy, active striker. We got a wrestler who isn't that great with the hands, but serviceable. Somebody who's going to eat shots coming in. Somebody who just wants to get the fight to the mat, get it to their spot, and do what they need to do. So, we seen Jillian and Tabitha. Jillian got her down, stayed on top of her the rest of the round, won all the rounds, control throughout. I think it might have been 29-28, but one of the judges, whatever, we're not going to get into the score of that. Different week. Anyway, so that's what I thought coming into this week. Tatiana Suarez, she was an anchor. We had her minus 160 to win on the money line. She was the other part of the 100 down parlay. Her and Chuck Buffalo to win together were plus 140 on FD. So we threw 2 units on that. Really went and took a swing at it. And they cracked it. Plus we got Tatiana Suarez on the solo, on straight up bet. Man, that was a fantastic fight. So what actually happened in the fight, before the fight, when we said if Tatiana Suarez gets attached to Lupe Godinez, that this one is not, it's going to be over. We thought it would go the distance. What we said was that it was going to look like a long night on the wrestling mat if Tatiana Suarez got attached. It might be a boring fight. But instead, we have them coming out. Lupe Godinez looks good with the hands. She hurts Tatiana Suarez. I don't think she hurt her as bad as the announcers made it seem, but she did hurt her. Tatiana Suarez got slammed a couple times. But here's where the wrestling comes in. Now, if you go back and watch this fight, Lupe Godinez suplexed Tatiana Suarez. And then As Tatiana Suarez was making her way back up, Lupi went to suplex her again, but Tatiana Suarez hooked her right elbow behind the leg, which stopped the whole upward motion. From that point on, it was over. It was over. One of the announcers, I think it was John Anik, said that he would have liked to see her try to separate after that. After Lupi hit her with the shot and hurt her a little bit, she tried to go in at her. And when she couldn't, get her out of there with strikes, she tried to wrestle her. She was doing way better on feet, way better with striking. She made a mistake by going to the grappling. She brought the fight where Suarez wanted it. Suarez didn't have to control pace. She didn't have to control range or pace or anything because Lupi Godinez brought the fight to where she wanted it. She took it away on her own from where she was best at. And listen, we talk every week about range, controlling the range and this and that. Why do we talk about those things? What do they even matter? Because you have to get the fight to where you are most comfortable. That's the whole entire reason controlling range matters. So it's not just about keeping it distance or making it close. Wherever you're best at, that's the range you need to get to. You need to keep it there. Well, Lupi Godinez didn't do that. She let the fight get to where Tatiana Suarez wanted it. Beginning the second round, Tatiana got to her back. She got her in a front headlock that was solely the only, and Daniel Cormier mentioned it, but the sole purpose of that headlock was for her to get to a leg. And she did it right away. She got to the back soon after that. Rear naked strangle. Submission, round 2. Cash those checks. Give me those tickets. We move on. Mateusz Gamrot versus Esteban Ribovics. Now this one, we had a solo bet. Mateusz Gamrot, we had him to win by decision. I'm very confident in him winning. Should have had him in the Castle parlay instead. Those are those hindsight mistakes that you can't really claim because you didn't do it. So anyway, Gamrot, we had him to win by... No, we did not have him to win by decision. We had him in the parlay. Jesus, I begin him mixed up with Murzakhanov. Always. We had Murzakhanov to win by KO. That Gamrot, we did not go through with. That was one I was looking at all the time. I'm sorry about that, y'all. But anyway, this fight played out exactly like we thought it would, except for Gamrot got the submission. He completely overpowered Ribovics on the ground. His grappling, his submission game, his wrestling to get it to that point were phenomenal. Hats off to Gamrot. He should be moving up. It was a good fight, but like I said, Ribovics didn't show. We thought he would do better. We had a closer score metric than what Ribovics showed. Ribovics, Brazilian. Next up, Kevin Holland, Randy Brown. This fight was all that I thought it would be. Kevin Holland actually did better than I thought he would do, but he controlled the fight with leg kicks, with grappling. Randy Brown looked good. He looked like Randy Brown. He looked good with the hands. Both of these guys are long strikers. Randy Brown controls his range excellent. He actually controlled range better in the fight than Kevin Holland, but Kevin Holland was killing him with these leg kicks. I think more than anything, Kevin Holland won a veteran controlled point, UFC match. He really fought that match like someone who's been in the UFC forever. He did excellent. We had no action on this fight. I will tell you all the time, and I will stick to it. You don't bet on Kevin Holland. You don't bet against Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland fights, get some popcorn, get a beer, get a buddy, watch the fight, keep your money in your pocket. You never know what's going on with Kevin Holland. Next up, Aaron Pico versus Patricio Pitbull. Lots been made about the Bellator big names coming over. Pitbull asked for this fight when he was signed into the UFC. So they had to bring over Pico. We had this fight not even close on our score metric. We had a heavy margin for Pico. And this is the one we came back in late. We always come back with one Saturday, a bet after the final. and after weigh-ins, and this was the one that we used this time. It was Pico to win by points, by decision. That was plus 200 on FD. For a second there, I did not think we were going to get it because I thought he was going to knock him out. The fight happened exactly how the read. We thought, you hear that a lot here at this channel. I'm sorry. Exactly how the read said we would, or said the fight would go down. And talk here. Yeah, Pitbull could not get Pico down. He couldn't get to his wrestling. Pitbull looked better than I thought he would with the hands on his feet. But as the fight went on, Aaron Pico displayed. He showed way better speed, way better striking. He showed adaptability. He showed that he has a true MMA game. He tried to wrestle Pitbull. Everybody knows that wrestling is Pitbull's arena. Pitbull has jiu-jitsu. None of it worked. Aaron Pico had the answer for everything he tried. Unanimous decision. I think we might have had... Was it another eye poke there? There were several eye pokes on the card, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, okay. I thought it was a unanimous decision. It was. It was 30-27 on two cards, 29-28. One judge gave one round to Pitbull. I can't fault him for that. The next fight, our model gave this fight. It was Nate Landwehr versus Cub Swanson. Cub Swanson's retirement match. I think that the retirement part of it played a role in the model. I don't know if it was flagging that for volatility. But listen, I knew when I looked at this match, I liked Cub Swanson. We didn't go in on it because our model gave Nate Landwehr the fight more times. Which, holy smokes, change up your model. No, I'm just kidding. So we had Nate Landwehr to win a rough match, a tough match, one to go down in the books as barn burner. But it didn't happen like that. Cub Swanson came out, showed hand speeds of a 20-year-old, absolutely dominated the fight, one-way traffic, made Nate Landwehr look like somebody we're probably never betting on again, and absolute phenomenal send-off for Cub Swanson. He looked great. Thank you, Cub Swanson, for everything that you've done for the UFC, for the people that you've inspired. I know he had his kids, his wife in the ring, his wife utter and total relief. She was crying. They did a big tribute to him on the board, and I thought it was a fantastic tribute, man. It was similar to NBA tributes, when a guy goes back, or, LeBron went back to Cleveland the other time. One of those video board tributes. It was absolutely phenomenal. Good job by the UFC there. This was an excellent card. It was an excellent card. You can't take my word for that. I think all the cards are excellent. I love the fighting. Everybody, I said I wasn't going to complain about everybody complaining, so I'm not. This next fight was the worst one on the card. I absolutely knew it would be. I knew it. It's not that I'm taking a lot of credit for making this call, but listen. Johnny Walker, Dom Reyes, everybody and their mother was telling you that this one was going to be under 1.5 rounds. These two guys, both kind of chinny, both big power guys, both guys who take chances, both kind of crazy. Dominic Reyes isn't crazy outside the ring, but he's made questionable decisions inside the ring. And still we gave him the fight IQ edge over Johnny Walker. When we talk about questionable decisions, come on, it's Johnny Walker. But split decision, Dom Reyes. Not everybody happy with the decision. Our model picked Reyes. We had no action on the fight. This one was too volatile, but I knew it was going over a round and a half. Both of these guys, you see this a lot of times when you have these heavyweight strikers. These guys fought at 205, light heavy. But you have both of these powerful guys. Everybody's measuring. Nobody wants to get knocked out in front of everybody. with your family in the stands. I know you're fighting UFC. It's going to happen. You're going to get beat up. You're going to get bloodied. Things are going to happen in there. But it's something about feeling that first punch from Johnny Walker. You know, when he actually stings you, you're like, oh, whoa, hold on a second. And you switch up the game plan a little bit, you know. That first punch from Iron Mike is not, you know, it's nothing short of a revelation. And sometimes you have that. There's been a few fights with these supposed gonna be killers, at least one or two on each card, where they're gonna knock each other out the first minute and it goes the distance. This was the one I said was gonna do it. Kind of boring. Nobody got their shot off. Nobody did much of anything. Not much to talk about. Next up, Dom Reyes won. We were on Dom Reyes. Curtis Blades versus Josh Hockett. I'm going to stick to the fight here only. Josh Hockett showed incredible speed. Josh Hockett showed incredible talent. Absolutely ridiculously poor cardio. Curtis Blades, the same. Terrible cardio. These guys are huge beasts of men. Of course, there was going to be some cardio issues. Their fights do not go that long. Hockett usually gets these things done early. Hockett showed great hands. He showed some great accuracy. Curtis Blades showed terrible head movement, but he showed amazing toughness. I think he said afterwards that he had a fractured orbital bone and a fractured upper bridge of the nose or something like that. Fractured his nose, fractured his orbital bone. His face got jacked up, man. Josh Hockett obliterated his face. Josh Hockett gave him the finger in the middle of the ring like 8 times. I mean, none of this stuff is serious from Hockett. You know, he's trying to get us to talk about him, and I'm not mad at him, but all of it's extra. Not a lot of it has to do with fighting. He's almost like a WWE wrestler in a UFC. You know what I mean? Like, he's got that story. He's got that drama going on. And I know that some of you need these things to be interested. You're not fight fans like some of us. You know, you could be a casual. That's cool. I love the fighting. I don't need anything extra from Hockett besides for that hand speed. You know, you had me at hand speed, Hockett. You had me at hand speed. Josh Hockett won this fight 29-28 on all cards. Curtis Blades could not keep him down when he did take him down. And I thought Hockett did a fantastic job. He is going to be someone to look at going forward. If he can improve his cardio, which he talked about after the fight, then he can be dangerous. Dangerous. Next up, well, we had nothing on that fight either. Too much volatility. Unanimous decision. Josh Hockett. Warlord System had Curtis Blades as well. We had him heavy on that too. Azamat Murkhanov versus Paulo Costa. Okay. Azamat had never lost before. You know, he's got that build that everybody talks about. Paulo Costa has the build he talked about. He's posting like pictures and Instagram and social media of him shooting green stuff in his. He's basically saying he's the Hulk. Azamat Murkhanov was a not a heavy favorite, but one of the biggest favorites on this card. Like I said, had not lost before. Had showed brilliant hands. Had showed brilliant technical boxing ability. Great counter puncher. Guy had showed everything you want to see in the way of hands, and he showed good grappling defense. Not so much offensive grappling, but he can defend the takedown. He can make his way back up. He knows what to do, even if he isn't the greatest at doing it, which is more than you could say for a lot of guys in the UFC. Paulo Costa, you know, we talked about him and his kicks coming in. We talked about if he could get it to kick range, you know, keep Murkhanov away from his boxing and keep throwing them kicks to the body. We had Murkhanov to win, but always check your system notes, you know, the counter arguments, the early invalidation. We bring a lot to you with the Warlord evaluation system. If you read the Warlord evaluation system report, it would have told you that there were 2 or 3 ways this fight was going to go down. This is why we love Warlord. Warlord is not going to make magical picks for you through all these fights. It's going to give you the most likely paths of victory and tell you what's actually going to go down in that octagon that night. And if you measure by picks, the percentage will go up, it'll go down, and mostly, 70%. Sometimes we go a little bit lower. We've rode before 80 before. But if you go to the pathways, if you go to the system note, if you look deeper into the report, we're over 90% on telling you how these fights are going to go down within 1 or 2 ways. Sure, we can say, oh, this fight's going to go 1 of 5 ways and be right. That's not usually what we do. Usually say fight's going to go like this, or it's going to go like this. And it's always one of those two. We're never far off. Never far off. I don't think we were on this card at all either. Anyway, fight went exactly like we said it would. If the read was invalidated early. Basically, Mirzakhanov couldn't get to where he needed to. He did have a good second round where I thought he was going to put Paulo Costa out. And it looked like Paulo was gassed in that second round, but it completely flipped in the third round. I think Costa won a close first round. Azamat Mirzakhanov won the second round heavily, and he almost put Costa out. But Paulo Costa was getting off great, damaging kicks the whole entire fight. I think he hurt Mirzakhanov with a few of those kicks. I think Mirzakhanov did a great job of not showing it. But if you go back and watch the fight, I can tell you 2 or 3 spots where I think he actually hurt him with some of those kicks. Like, go to the hospital, get checked out, injuries. Paulo Costa showed great power. He showed a definite... That's where the difference came for me. I didn't know. I thought Costa might have been the faster guy, but I thought Mirzakhanov could match him at speed. Costa was way faster than Mirzakhanov. Way faster than Mirzakhanov. And for me, I think that made the difference. And also, what I said before, that Costa looked like he was gassed in the second round. When it came to the third round, it looked like Mirzakhanov was gassed, and Paulo Costa got like some gummy berry juice from somewhere. He's like bouncing all over the place. He got like a energy boost out of nowhere. So Paulo Costa's the winner. Azamat Mirzakhanov was part of the house special, and we had him by KO. He was plus 190. We put a half a unit on that. That was on bet 365. That went down, obviously. And the North Coast house special had to go down as well, since he was part of the parlay. That's 2 parlays down, man. Kevin Gastelum and Mirzakhanov taking down our parlays. Gastelum, not surprised. Mirzakhanov, though, I don't know. I'm surprised that Mirzakhanov lost, but that it was Paulo Costa, that doesn't surprise me. Paulo's good. So we have Paulo Costa with the brutal head kick in the third round. Knocks Mirzakhanov down, shook him up, hurt him bad. Few ground and pounds after. 1 minute, 23 seconds into the third round, and that was all she wrote. Takes down huge portion of what we could have had on the night. 2 big plays. That one hurt us. Actually, it didn't hurt us. We came out successful on the positive for the week, but man, we could have had an absolutely brilliant night if Mirzakhanov comes through for us. Even if he didn't get the knockout, all he needed was the win on the money line, and we would have been just rolling, man. Instead, our night, comes down to the last fight, the main event, the last play we were in on. This is not a parlay, straight up. For the light heavyweight championship, we had Yuri, the Samurai, Prohashka, Carlos Ulberg. I don't know why we have such crazy happenings in these title fights lately, you know, with Joshua Van and Pantoja. Well, in this fight, Carlos Ulberg blew out his knee. Now, Yuri, instead of just working the angle, working the leg, drawing out the fight, winning the moment, winning the rounds, getting the points, that's not Yuri. Yuri sees the dude's hurt, just points to the ground like, hey, stand there, come on, let's do this. You want to... He's still kicking the leg. He's telling the guy to stand there, but he keeps kicking the leg that's hurt. I was like, that's kind of questionable. But Carlos Ulberg did stand there. And he hit him with a couple hooks, and Yuri Prochazka went to sleep. Sent him to the Shadow Realm to visit your boy. First round KO, 3 minutes 45 seconds. And I don't know if the fight would have went differently. All I know is that Carlos Ulberg hurt his leg badly. He couldn't kick, he couldn't stand, he couldn't barely move. And he still knocked Yuri Prochazka out. We had 0.75 units on that. We got it early in the week at plus 105. As you know, the odds moved closer to even during the week. Carlos Ulberg came through in a big way. That made us 4-3-1 on our bets on the card. And that's goofy because Chris Padilla won that fight. I'm telling you, we should have got paid on that. That would have made us 5-3, but it is what it is. We put in 7.25 units. So in total, we only gained, thank you, Mirzakhanov, we only gained 1.91 units on what was actually like a fantastic night watching the fights. Our Shadows Ego challenge went down. We got 5 out of the 7. Gastelum and Mirzakhanov, of course, were the 2 that took us off. Regrets. Cub Swanson. I knew Cub Swanson. If I had to do the Josh Hockett and Curtis Blades over again, I wouldn't have done anything differently. I still think Curtis Blades could have won that fight. Just something about Hockett. Not for me. No, I thought about doing Gamrot, double chance, submission, or decision. Instead, we went with the decision. You know, that sort of cost us. Yeah, everything was everything. You see how it went down. I think Warlord to 7-6. There were 13 fights. They added. Oh no, they took away that one fight. So 11 fights, 6-5. Plus 1.91 units. And that's just about it for the Shadowbox finale. The War Report. We switch over to the DFS on DK portion of the video. This won't take long. We only had 3 really big plays this week. Or I wouldn't even call them big plays. We hopped in the 10K hook. Or 40K hook. 10,000 to the winner. Something like that. I don't know what the heck was going on. But, oh my gosh. We had 3 people left. We were in 12th place. We really had a shot. You know, the whole night we were in 2nd place. I had like over $3,000 next to my name on the thing if you checked. You usually split with whoever you're tied with. Man, I was in the money on that tournament, and Mirzakhanov, I had Mirzakhanov in my lineup. He killed me. You know, you check out my lineup. I'll throw it up there. There's a lineup. We were in that tournament. We had a multiplayer event contest. 6 people, $10 to get in. DraftKings won't let me show the names, or they don't want me to show the names. I'll show them if I want to, but that wouldn't be any good for me. But so there's just player A, B, but I played too many matches to be even in amateur, so none of these guys are in amateurs anymore. We've all graduated to the next level, and these guys are pretty good. They're pretty good, especially Rico. The guy's fantastic. I see him winning every week. Hey, Rico, second time I took you out, man, in like 3 weeks. 6 of us, each 10 apiece. DraftKings take their cut. Winner gets all $54. I took that down for the second time in 2 weeks. Flexing. No, I'm just kidding. I like playing with those guys. It's fantastic. I look forward to that every week. And I also head-to-head with one person. We call him Player A, just to differentiate between the two different head-to-head matchups in the multiplayer event. Also was winning that one. You see, I fell by about 50-something points there. If Murzakanov would have came through and knocked dude out like I thought he would have, then boom, that's it right there. I win. He didn't. I didn't. And we lose the one only head-to-head match. But that multiplayer event made up for it. Placing in the tournament, we got $12. The entry fee was $8. We were that close to thousands. That close. $10,000 to the winner. Congratulations, winner. That's all I got, man. I might throw up some numbers, some totals, but plus 1.91 units on the day. Castle Parlay goes down. House Special goes down. 100 down hits. Most of our solos hit. Chris Padilla should have hit. Good night. Fantastic night. Next time you guys see me, I'll be back with the North Coast breakdown video. We've separated the main card and the prelims just to try to shorten up the video so we can get more of the actual, true, real breakdown in instead of like just trying to fit all the research we do into a few lines to save time because we're just killing ourselves with that. So we're out of here, man. We'll see you then. Thank you for hanging out with me. If you did stay this long, like the video, obviously. Subscribe to the channel. Do all that stuff that they tell you to do. You know what I mean? I don't know if I care about that stuff, but thank you. I'm glad you're here. Peace.